What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Hatchet. So over the past couple weeks I've been watching a show called Holliston, and if you all are not familiar with the show Holliston, it's a sitcom that it focuses around these horror filmmakers, these aspiring horror filmmakers, and it's a sitcom, it's a comedy, but it has a lot of horror references, and a lot of the storylines are like horror-esque. But anyways, the reason I'm bringing up Holliston is because that show is actually created by the writer and director of this movie, Adam Green, and he's actually one of the main characters in the show as well. So, I've been wanting to check out Holliston for a while because there's this one podcast that I listen to. It's a horror podcast called The Skeleton Crew, and they always mentioned Holliston, so I wanted to check it out because I've seen all these Hatchet movies before, so I'm like, oh, Adam Green has a show. Let me check it out. So I absolutely love the show. I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, I don't know if it's on any streaming right now. I just bought. There's only 2 seasons, and I'm not completely done with the show. I still have 2 episodes left, but I'm pretty much done. I have like 2 episodes left in the second season, but yeah, I just bought it on Amazon, and I'm a huge fan. So since I've been watching Holliston, I was like, what the heck, I haven't seen the Hatchet movies in a couple years or whatever. I might as well rewatch the Hatchet movie since I'm kind of in this like Adam Green craze right now. Like I'm like already obsessively watching the show like back to back. I'm like, I might as well you know revisit the Hatchet movies. So like I said, I have seen all of the Hatchet movies before. Uh, I saw the second one first. That was the first one I ever saw. I didn't even know these movies existed until probably like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. I was just at the library, and my library sells DVDs for like $1. And then I saw Hatchet 2, and I was like, oh, Hatchet 2, what is this? And then I read the back, and I'm like, oh, this is like a horror movie, this is a slasher movie. I'm like, oh snap, Danielle Harris is in it. Let me pick this up. So I bought Hatchet 2, I watched it, and I enjoyed Hatchet 2. So then I'm like, I looked into it. I'm like, oh, there's 4 of these movies. So I had to watch them all. And initially, since I saw the second one first, I liked the vibe of the second one, and then when I went back and watched the first one, I wasn't super big on the first one. But which might be weird because I think the second one is like one of the most hated movies in the franchise. But anyways, the first time I watched the first Hatchet, like I had already seen the second one, so I wasn't super big into the first Hatchet. But after rewatching the first Hatchet, I thought this movie was great. Like this was just an absolutely solid slasher movie. It hit all the marks for me. It just, I don't know. I had an enjoyable time. So the first Hatchet, my overall consensus, I think this is a very, very solid slasher movie. Very fun time. So now I'm gonna get into a little plot summary. So the the movie focuses on this group of friends. They're partying during Mardi Gras, and the main character Ben, he just got out of a long-term relationship. His girlfriend basically dumped him, and he's in his feels. He's all sad, and he's kind of sick of the whole Mardi Gras party scene because he's seeing all these women, and it's just reminding him of his ex-girlfriend. So he wants to get his mind off of his girlfriend and the whole party scene. So he has this idea where he wants to go on this boat tour that like takes a tour of the swamp, and he convinces his friend Marcus to go with him. They go on this swamp tour, and when they're on the tour, they are told the story of Victor Crowley, who was accidentally killed, and he came back as a ghost, and he's said to haunt the swamp. And basically, while they're on this boat tour, they crash and their boat is sinking, so they have to go on land into the deep into the woods. And while they're stranded in the woods, everyone starts getting killed by Victor Crowley himself. So that is the basic plot summary. The first thing that I want to get into is the kills. The kills in this movie are absolutely fantastic. You don't have one cutaway. The gore is phenomenal. There's just blood splattering everywhere. Victor Crowley is he almost has like super strength. He's like this he has this brute strength where he just dismember. He doesn't even need a weapon to dismember people. There's a couple decapitations, he just twists this one guy's head and rips this guy's head off, and there's blood squirting out like crazy. He's ripping people's arms off, ripping people's faces in half. The kills in this movie are top notch, and there's a good variety of kills too. Even though there's a couple decapitations or a couple kills that are similar, every kill in this is different. And I mean, Adam Green, the writer and director of this movie, he's a huge horror fan himself. So, he wants to deliver when it comes to the kills. He probably wants, all kinds of variety, all kinds of creative kills, and he doesn't want to do the same thing, So, I mean, the kills in this are absolutely fantastic. My favorite kill was this older lady. She gets her face, her head, ripped in half like that. I mean, that was amazing. It looked really good. All of this is practical too, and this came out in 2006. So, I mean, a lot of movies were going the CGI route at that time. This movie is all practical, and the kills are phenomenal. Moving on, in addition to all the horror stuff, this movie has some great comedy. There's so many instances, but I'm gonna get into just a couple instances that I thought were funny. So I thought Ben's character was funny because he is kind of for the first 2/3 of the movie, he's kind of just a total dweeb. He tries to get with this girl Mary Beth, and he's like, "Oh, that's a nice jacket," and "Oh, you Mary Beth, that's a beautiful name. You got two names. I only have one name. My name's Ben." And then he just immediately starts bringing up his ex. He's like, "I just got out of a long breakup." He's just blowing it. He's trying to talk to Mary Beth and holler at her, say what's up to her, get with her, blah blah blah, and he's just totally blowing it. So I thought that was really funny. It was like super awkward, but like in a funny way, like intentionally awkward. And his buddy Marcus, the whole time he's just like shaking his head. He's like, what is this guy doing? He's blowing it. Um, and then the tour guide is his name's Sean, and he's funny because throughout the whole movie he does this just like terrible fake New Orleans accent, but then he'll like switch to his normal voice, and everyone just thinks he's like a total phony, and he's like so inexperienced when it comes to the tour. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. He's got like note cards. He doesn't have anything memorized, and all the people who are on the tour, they consistently like correct him because he doesn't even have his facts straight. So that his whole character was funny. And then there's this character. He's like a porn director, and he's got these two girls. They're doing like a Girls Gone Wild thing called Bayou Beavers, and it's funny like when all the characters are taking this bus to go to the boat tour, and um, basically there's this older guy, and he's like, "Oh, what are you, a director? What movies have you done?" And he's like, "Oh, Bayou Beavers, do you know about that?" And the older guy is like, "Yes, I do." And his wife's right there. He's like, "No, I don't know that." And he's just like checking out the chicks all the time. He's got his wife right next to him, but like the chicks will be like, taking their tops off, and he's just like enamored. He's like, oh my goodness. So his character was funny. All the little stuff with the adult film people was funny, and that older couple, they were funny as well. And then there's this joke later on. So basically, Ben's friend Marcus, he's trying to talk to one of these adult film actresses, and he's got some charm, he's got some charisma, and he's actually like getting somewhere with this girl. But earlier on in the movie, he talks about how he got with this one girl and he got crabs and he didn't know, and it was like a terrible experience. And he's like, actually, he's finally getting somewhere with this girl. They're hitting it off, and then she just like scratches her private parts, and he's like, oh man, like I was so close. So I thought that was really funny as well. There was a lot of other funny moments as well, but I can't get into everything here. I don't want the video to be too long. So yeah, there you go. You got fantastic kills. You got good comedy, and since this is a slasher movie, there is actually a lot of nudity in this, which in the 2000s you didn't see as much. I mean, some 2000s horror movies still had the nudity, but it wasn't as like prevalent as like the 80s slasher movies. So I don't know. This just, it, like I said, it hits all the marks. Let me see what else. Oh yeah. So okay. This movie is kind of unique for the time in which it came out, because there were so many remakes around this time, but there weren't really any straight up slashers. There weren't any like new original slasher properties coming out. And I've like listened to a couple interviews with Adam Green, and you can tell he hates the whole remake era. He thinks it's just like soulless and a cash grab. I don't 100% agree with that, because I like quite a few of those remakes from the 2000s and early 2010s. Maybe just because like that's when I was growing up and stuff, so I kind of have nostalgia for it. But I think it's pretty admirable that he was like, he could have, he's said that in interviews as well, like he's had offers to do all these big studio remakes, and he's like, no, I want to do something different. I want to do something original. I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna take a chance. Like this movie didn't have a high budget. The budget was like 1.5 million, which is nothing. So he could have easily just uh, went out and did some $30 million remake, but he's like, no, I want to do my own thing. I want to make my own franchise, and I want like the vibe you get with this movie is it's like by a fan for fans. Like he doesn't want to make some soulless cash grab. Like he wants to make a horror movie that's like reminiscent of all his favorite horror movies. So I really I really appreciate that. And this movie, it's like on the title it says like, I mean, not on the title, on the cover it says old school American horror. And I feel like this movie, it does have an 80s feel, but it's not trying to be 80s. You know, there's so many slasher movies that have come out after the 80s that either they're set in the 80s, or they try to like they it's like overt that they're like trying to pay homage to the 80s, and sometimes it's too much, like they're trying too hard. This is not trying to be an 80s movie, but it feels old school in the fact that it's just it's like an original slasher, and like I said, it hits all the marks. You have nudity, you have great gore, you have some good comedy. You know, it's just it feels old school because so many slasher movies that have come out after the 80s, they try to be meta, they try to be self-aware, they have some angle. Like this movie is just trying to be a new original slasher, and it's not, it's not like, a lot of slasher movies that have come out after the 80s, they're almost like making fun of slasher movies or poking fun at the genre. This is just, it's trying to be, it's trying to appeal to like horror fans who love 80s slashers, but it's not trying to be an 80s slasher. It's just trying to be Hatchet, So I really appreciate I really appreciate that. And yeah, one last thing that I want to get into. Well, actually, I'll get into this and then I'll get into that. So, um, you know, I think too, this is kind of like a story of like a filmmaker being resourceful. Like you always hear of, there's like interesting ways that people get a movie made, or people market a movie, like the Blair Witch Project. That was like the first like viral marketing campaign or whatever. The backstory behind how this movie got made is interesting as well, because and I feel like maybe this was never done before. So what Adam Green did was he made like a mock trailer. He made like a teaser trailer before he ever wrote a script, and he impressed some people with the trailer, and that's actually how we got funding for the movie. And in the show Holliston, his character and his buddy, played by Joe Lynch, they do the same thing where they're trying to make this horror movie called Shin Pads about like an undead soccer team, and they make a trailer before they ever get the movie made so they can get funding. So yeah, basically the show Holliston is like loosely based off Adam Green's life, like loosely, very loosely, but there are some like overarching similarities. But anyways, I just think that's super resourceful. I don't know if another filmmaker has done that, where they make like a short little teaser trailer before any pre-production to like, you know, to build the hype, to get the word out, and then like that's how they get funding, that's how they get their movie greenlit. So I think that's super resourceful, super innovative, and it's a cool little story. And then I wanted to get into that point, and then the last point that I want to get into are the cameos. I mean, so many horror legends. You got Tony Todd has a cameo. I didn't get into his cameo, but that was another funny moment where he's like, I don't do tours anymore, and they're thinking like that someone died on his tour or something catastrophic happened, but he's like, yeah, man, I got sued for negligence, and it's like this whole build-up, and it's like, oh, he just got sued. His whole cameo, it was really short, but it was really funny. Yeah, so you got Tony Todd, John Carl Buechler was in this movie for like a super short cameo as well. He was just in a boat, like drinking what I think was piss. Robert Englund was in the movie in the beginning. And then Josh from the Blair Witch Project, he was in the beginning as well. He played like Robert Englund's son. And then Victor Crowley himself is played by Kane Hodder, you know. He's played by Jason. So, I mean, you got cameos for days. You got so much fan service. Like I said, the cameos are fan service. The kills, the nudity, like, I don't know. This I really enjoyed this movie on this watch, and I mean, I feel like Adam Green really knew what he was doing. Like I don't know, like he really knew his audience, you know. So I think this movie delivers. It's a super solid time. So in terms of a recommendation, I would absolutely recommend this movie. I don't know. There's just really nothing wrong with it. It's just a good little slasher movie from the 2000s, you know, and it's yeah, I don't know. It's just, if you're a slasher fan, this is like the fanboy movie. Like, it's just, I don't know. It does not disappoint. So I definitely would recommend Hatchet. It's free on Tubi right now. All of the sequels are free on Tubi as well. So if you're interested in watching it, you could watch all these for free, and they're pretty short. They're all like an hour and 20 something minutes. So yeah, if you have not seen Hatchet, definitely check it out. But yeah, that's been my little recommendation. That's been my review of Hatchet. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.